Thanks for stopping by. I'm Peter Alsop, and for this episode, we've got another song to chew from my new album, Camping with Dads. It's a folk story song kind of album designed to help us dads raise our own consciousness about some of the messages we inherited from our own dads. It'll help us do a little better job of helping our boys understand the need to respect and care for our daughters and ourselves. I remember when I'd get in trouble with my dad, he'd reprimand me and say, "Peter, you need a good talking to." But now, when I think about those times, I think, what I really needed was a good listening to. Instead of giving us a lecture or spanking us, he could have asked us why we did what we did. Kids usually have some kind of crazy reasons for doing the things we do, and we might be way off base, but when our parents don't even ask, they miss an opportunity to find out what's going on for us. And maybe, with that information, be better able to help us. Even as adults, some of us don't always consider the consequences we might face when we don't think things through. As a parent, I've tried not to make that same mistake, not listening to my own kids. So here's the song I wrote about that. From my Camping with Dads album, You Need a Good Listening To.
You need a good listening to. Sounds like it hasn't happened for you. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna listen to you right now. Really? Wow. I'm gonna listen to you. Tell me what's on your mind. Any feelings you might find. Sad, scared, angry, any old kind. I'm gonna listen to you. Okay. Yeah, I'm gonna listen to you. I talk too much anyway. Now I'm listening to what you say. I won't interrupt or get in your way. I'm gonna listen to you. Here we go. I'm listening. Yeah, I'm gonna listen to you. My lips are sealed, won't say a thing. Tell me what's happening. Laugh or cry or yell or sing. I'm gonna listen to you. I won't give my opinion when you share your information. No matter what your situation, I'm gonna listen to you. You need a good listening to. Sounds like it hasn't happened for you. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna listen to you. 'Cause you need a good listening to. So I'm gonna listen to you.
As you heard, this song is not a sing-along. It's actually the world's first listen-along. I haven't played it for a live audience yet, but it amuses me to think that if everyone listens during the chorus, then no one's talking, right? So there's no one to listen to. I don't know why that amuses me so much, but it does. It's like playing with the audience. I've done it before. I'll say, okay, on the count of 3, I want everyone to turn around and shake hands with the person behind you. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And of course, when they do that, the person behind them has just turned around to shake hands with the person behind them. So there's a lot of laughter, but not a lot of handshaking going on. It's funny to me because it's one of those ideas that sounds really great, but then when you actually try it, it doesn't work very well. We all know that one, right? I guess this is a little different because it never hurts to just listen, even if no one is talking. The therapists really like this song, and it's great for parents too. It's so very special when we have someone in our life, a friend, hopefully a parent or a grandparent or other relative, who really knows how to listen to us. That's a rare skill. Most people don't know how to really listen. A friend of mine, Dr. Ted Klontz, actually runs a workshop for high-level executives on how to listen. I think that's a leadership skill that's really needed these days. A lot of folks who say they're listening to us don't really listen. I remember back when I was starting out, I'd make an appointment with a record company executive, an A&R person. I think that used to stand for artists and repertoire or something. Those were the guys who would listen to your recording and then tell you if they thought you were marketable enough for them to offer you a record deal or not. They almost always had people waiting out in the waiting room. It was rare if they actually saw you at the time of the appointment, I guess because they were very important and very busy. And then once you got in to see them, you'd sit down and they'd say, okay now, what is it you've got for me today? I'm all ears. So I'd start my pitch. and they'd interrupt and say to their secretary, "Oh, Gladys, is that meeting with Bob Wilson this afternoon, or is that for next Wednesday?" Or I'd hand them my audition tape, and they'd say, "Don't mind this stuff on my desk. I'm listening. I just have to sign a few letters here that need to go out in the next mail. It's okay. I can do 2 things at once." Or I'd start again, and the phone would buzz, and they'd pick it up and say, "What is it, Gladys?" "Oh, Charlene. Okay, sure. Put her through." And then he'd lean over to me and whisper, say, "This'll just take a minute. Charlene, so good to hear from you. You're back from the Bahamas." Then they'd hold up one finger and nod like they knew I wouldn't mind because they're very busy and just had to take Charlene's call. Can you relate to any of this? Because it happens all the time. I don't like it when it happens to me, so I try my very best to never do that to anyone else. Yes, I know life happens, but when it does, we can consider the other person and say, "Hey, I'm really sorry. I've got something that came up I have to deal with, so I don't have a whole hour right now, but I can give you my completely undivided attention for the next 20 minutes. Will that work for you? If we need more time than that, let's make another appointment so we can finish. Would that be okay? I'm very sorry." And then, if I had a secretary, I'd say, "Gladys, please hold all my calls for the next 20 minutes. I'm in conference, and we don't want to be disturbed. Thanks." And then I'd say, "Okay, what's up?" And I'd listen for the entire 20 minutes, unless you asked me some questions. My time would be all yours. The first time someone actually did that for me, I almost started to cry out of gratitude. We all need a good listening to from time to time. It helps us clear our own heads. It lifts us to feel someone else cares about us enough to give us their undivided attention. It affirms our perception that we are a person worthy of being listened to. And isn't it nice if we can do that for someone else? When someone does really listen to us intently, it's so unusual that it can feel disconcerting. Us humans are most comfortable when we have some kind of distraction available, so that if our talking gets too deep or too personal, then we have a place to put our attention that is not the other person. A lot of men, for instance, like to go out fishing with each other or play pool or golf or watch sports and drink beer. And during the event or distraction, the talking that goes on can be really deep and meaningful about what's going on in our lives. But it feels okay because we've always got the distraction to go to if it becomes too uncomfortable. Women have known this for years. When they get together, they go bowling or stitch a quilt together or organize voters. When our hands are busy, we can trade information, talk about our fears and worries and joys, share about our problems with our kids, our mates, our relatives, our health. Someone told me that when us old folks get together and talk about our health, it's called an organ recital. I guess that's kind of a musician's joke. We also swap food ideas, weight training suggestions, baseball scores, financial practices, politics, our strongest opinions, and still feel safe enough to do this because we've got something else to do. Making something together, cleaning up, organizing or working on a project, doing something, anything that creates an easy and familiar diversion that we can focus on if our discussions become too heated. This is where a lot of us go to get a good listening to when we need one. Okay, that's it for now. Thanks for stopping by. Please go to peteralsop.hearnow, HEARNOW.com, and check out my Camping with Dads album. Maybe as a gift for yourself or for someone else you love who might benefit from hanging out and singing along and listening along with me and the other dads and kids. I'm Peter Alsop. See you next week with another song to chew. Bye for now.